You've been losing wars you didn't even know you were fighting. Every time someone provoked you and you fired back. Every time someone questioned you and you rushed to justify yourself. Every time someone disrespected you and you spent your entire day consumed by it. They won, and you handed them the victory with your own hands. Every argument you entered that you didn't need to enter. Every explanation you gave to someone who had already decided not to believe you. Every moment you let what someone else said determine how your day felt. You gave them that power freely. You didn't even charge them for it. But here's what changes today. You're going to stop fighting battles that only drain you. You're going to stop explaining yourself to people who don't deserve the sound of your voice. And you're going to learn the one thing the most powerful people in history already knew: that the person who refuses to react controls everything. I'm about to give you 7 principles that Machiavelli himself observed, tested, and refined across decades of watching powerful men rise and powerless men collapse. These aren't motivational ideas. These are mechanisms, psychological laws that govern how humans perceive power, how they respond to silence, and how they chase what they cannot reach. You'll learn how to make someone who disrespects you regret it without saying a single word. You'll discover why explaining yourself is the fastest way to lose every argument you'll ever have. And you'll understand how to use your absence as a force so strong that the people who ignored you will be the ones desperately seeking your attention. This isn't about being cold. This isn't about being difficult. This is about becoming the kind of person whose energy cannot be stolen, whose reactions cannot be predicted, and whose presence cannot be taken for granted. Look at the people who operate at the highest levels. The ones who've built empires, led movements, commanded rooms without raising their voice. They are not the loudest. They are not the most reactive. They are not the ones who respond to every attack, defend every accusation, or chase every person who tries to diminish them. They're the ones you can't read, the ones whose next move you can never predict, the ones who, when you try to push their buttons, seem to have no buttons left to push. That's not luck, that's construction. That is a set of deliberate psychological principles applied consistently until they become identity. Most people believe that power is demonstrated through response, that you have to show up to every fight to prove you're not afraid. But every time you show up to a fight that didn't deserve your presence, you confirm something to the person who started it, that they can reach you, and a person who can be reached can be controlled. The real power players figured this out. They stopped being reachable. They stopped being readable. And in doing so, they became something nobody could touch. Machiavelli watched courts, kings, and conquerors for decades. He saw brilliant men fall not from lack of intelligence or strength, but from lack of restraint. They spoke when silence would have protected them. They explained when mystery would have elevated them. They reacted when stillness would have terrified their enemies. He understood something that the modern world has almost entirely forgotten. Silence is not the absence of power. Silence is power concentrated. Restraint is not a weakness. Restraint is the most refined form of dominance a human being can demonstrate. Power doesn't announce itself. Power doesn't need to be defended. Power simply is. And the moment you feel the urge to prove it, you've already begun to lose it. In the next few minutes, these 7 principles are going to completely rewire the way you move through the world. You'll learn how to destroy someone's power over you without confronting them once. You'll discover that your silence is received as a more devastating blow than your sharpest words could ever be. And you'll understand how to create so much psychological distance between you and the people who drain you that they can no longer affect your internal state at all. This is not about becoming someone who doesn't feel. This is not about becoming someone who doesn't care. This is about becoming someone who chooses, deliberately, strategically, ruthlessly, what they let in and what they shut out. It's about operating from a place so centered and so calm that the chaos other people create becomes completely invisible to you. Drop this in the comments before we go any further. I choose what gets to affect me. Speak it, commit to it. Because what you're about to learn only works if you decide right now that you're done being a passive participant in other people's power games. Let's get into it. Tip 1. Your reaction is the reward. Stop giving it away. You know why certain people keep provoking you, testing you, pushing you, and picking at you no matter how many times you've responded? Because every time you react, you prove to them that it's working. Your reaction is literally the prize they came for, and you keep giving it away for free. Here's the thing about people who try to destabilize you. They are not actually interested in the argument. They don't care about being right. What they care about is knowing that they have power over your emotional state. The moment your face changes, your tone shifts, or your fingers start typing a response, they've won. Not the argument, the game, the real game, which was never about words at all. Machiavelli observed this in political courts where advisors and rivals would deliberately provoke a leader just to see what made him flinch. The ones who flinched were the ones who got outmaneuvered. The ones who didn't flinch were the ones everyone feared. Imagine someone criticizes you publicly, in a group chat, in a comment section, in a meeting. Your instinct is to respond, to correct them, to show everyone watching that you won't be disrespected. So you type the response, or you speak up. And for the next hour, you're inside that argument, defending, explaining, escalating, completely consumed by something that started with one comment from someone who probably matters nothing to your actual life. Now imagine instead, you see it, register it internally, and do absolutely nothing. You continue your day. You don't acknowledge it. You don't reference it. It simply doesn't exist in your reality. What happens? The person who provoked you gets no reward. They get no confirmation that they reached you. They are left in total uncertainty, and uncertainty is psychologically unbearable. They will spend far more time inside their own head about your silence than you spent inside your head about their provocation. When you remove your reaction, you remove their power. It evaporates. There is nothing left for them to use because you gave them nothing. You become something they cannot figure out, cannot control, and cannot stop thinking about. From this moment forward, your reaction is currency. Spend it only on what earns it. Tip 2. Explanation is confession. Never justify yourself to the unworthy. You know what the biggest mistake you make when someone doubts you, questions you, or misunderstands you? You explain yourself. You lay out your reasoning. You show your evidence. You spend 20 minutes trying to make someone understand something they decided not to believe before you even opened your mouth. Here is the truth. Explanation is not communication. To the wrong person, explanation is confession. Every detail you give them is a new point of leverage. Every time you justify your decision, you're implying that the decision required justification, which implies it might have been wrong. Explanation signals insecurity, and insecurity signals a crack in the armor they will wedge themselves into. Machiavelli wrote that the prince who explains his reasons to every subordinate becomes subordinate to his subordinates. The moment you feel obligated to explain yourself to someone, you've placed them above you in the power dynamic, whether you realize it or not. Imagine your boss questions a decision you made. The old version of you launches into a full defense. The reasoning, the research, the alternatives you considered, the logic behind your choice. And the more you explain, the more questions they ask, because your explanation opened more surface area for scrutiny. By the end, you've spent an hour defending something that took you 5 minutes to decide, and you still don't feel like they believe you. The new version of you says 4 words, "I'm confident in it," then stops. Full stop. No elaboration, no evidence, no apology disguised as context. You give them nothing to push against, you give them a wall. And people don't argue with walls, they eventually walk away from them. The right people won't need your explanation, they'll trust your judgment. And the wrong people won't believe your explanation no matter how airtight it is. So, stop spending your energy on a performance that only benefits the audience that doesn't deserve it. Never explain, never justify. Let your results speak and let everything else remain private. Tip 3. Disappear selectively. How scarcity creates obsession. Most people think being available, being responsive, being consistently present is how you build value in someone's eyes. They think that the more they show up, the more people will appreciate them. It is one of the most expensive misconceptions a human being can hold. Here's what actually happens. Constant availability doesn't build appreciation. It destroys it. When someone knows they can reach you anytime, that they'll always get a response, that you'll always make time, your presence becomes furniture. It's just there. It requires no effort to access, so it requires no appreciation to have. Machiavelli understood that the prince who was always accessible was never truly respected. Rare appearances command attention. Predictable appearances become background noise. Think about 2 people. One texts back within 30 seconds every time, without fail. One sometimes responds immediately, sometimes takes hours, sometimes is simply unavailable. Who do you think about more? Whose response do you find yourself actually anticipating? The one you cannot predict. The one whose attention feels earned rather than automatic. This isn't about playing games. This is about understanding a fundamental law of human psychology. Scarcity creates value, and you have been making yourself infinitely available, which means infinitely cheap. Your time has no perceived weight because you've given everyone unlimited access to it. Start disappearing selectively, not permanently, selectively. Be sometimes unavailable. Let some messages sit. Decline some invitations with no explanation. Be present on your terms, not on everyone else's schedule. What will happen is remarkable. The people who took you for granted will start to wonder. The ones who barely noticed you before will start to notice your absence. You will shift in their perception from furniture to something rare, from someone they have to something they want. Scarcity is not coldness. Scarcity is the architecture of desire. Build it. Tip 4. Silence as a weapon. Why saying nothing says everything. Here's something that will change how you think about every conflict you face from this moment forward. The most devastating response you can give to someone who attacks you is no response at all. Not a calm response, not a composed response. No response. Complete, total, absolute silence. Everyone has been taught that silence equals surrender, that if you don't defend yourself, you're accepting the accusation, that if you don't answer, you're admitting you have no answer. This belief is wrong, and the people who have weaponized it against you are counting on you to keep believing it. Silence doesn't communicate defeat. Silence communicates something far more destabilizing: indifference. It tells the person attacking you that they don't register, that their words didn't land, that they don't exist on your radar in a meaningful enough way to warrant a response. And there is nothing. No insult, no comeback, no clever takedown. That damages a person's ego more than being treated as irrelevant. Machiavelli noted that leaders who responded to every slander eventually became defined by the slander they denied. But leaders who ignored slander entirely were never associated with it at all. The response is what makes the accusation stick. Someone spreads a lie about you. Old you gathers allies, posts clarifications, reaches out to everyone who might have heard it. Exhaust yourself trying to control a narrative that is already out of your hands. New you, nothing. You keep moving, you keep building, you keep producing, and slowly, without your energy feeding the story, it dies. Because stories require fuel. Your reaction is the fuel. Stop providing it. Your silence will be louder than anything you could say. It will force the other person to live inside their own attack with no relief, no engagement, no fight to validate their aggression. Let them sit there. You have better things to do. Tip 5. Erase without drama. The 3 people you must remove. Not everyone in your life deserves a dramatic exit or a confrontation. Most of them don't deserve the energy that a confrontation requires. There are exactly 3 types of people you need to remove, and each one requires a different application of the same principle. Quiet, complete, permanent erasure. The first type is the saboteur. This is the person who is actively working against you, not competing with you, working against you, spreading false information, undermining your credibility, finding ways to slow your progress. Most people's response is to expose them, confront them publicly, make sure everyone knows what they did. This is the response that gives the saboteur exactly what they want: your energy, your attention, and a platform. Instead, cut their access to your life completely and silently. Let your continued success be the response they can't argue with and can't stop. The second type is the constant critic. This person contributes nothing and critiques everything. They've never built what you're building, but they have opinions about every brick. Here is what you need to understand about critics. Their power only exists in your reaction to them. The moment you stop reacting, stop defending, stop trying to prove them wrong, their words float out into empty air with nothing to attach to. Critics need friction to exist. Give them none. Success doesn't respond to criticism. It makes criticism meaningless. The third type is the hidden drainer. This is the most dangerous one because they look like a friend. They always have a crisis. They always have a problem that needs your specific input. They always seem to need just a little more than they give back. And they've trained you to feel guilty for noticing the imbalance. Here is the truth. A person who never gets better, despite your constant help, is not looking for help. They are feeding on your attention and your energy. You are not abandoning them by protecting yourself. You are surviving. Protect your energy with the same ferocity you'd protect your life, because it is your life. Tip 6. Build the untouchable mind. Emotional sovereignty is the real power. Every technique in this video is only as strong as your internal state allows it to be. You can know every principle, understand every mechanism, and still fail, if your emotions are still available to anyone who wants to hijack them. The final layer of power isn't behavioral, it's internal. It is the deliberate construction of emotional sovereignty. Emotional sovereignty means this: nothing external gets to determine your internal state without your permission. Not an insult, not an accusation, not a betrayal, not a disappointment. You feel things. That doesn't change. But you decide which of those feelings get to direct your actions and for how long. Most people are emotionally reactive by default. Something happens, they feel it, they act from it, they regret it. The emotional event and the behavioral response happen almost simultaneously. There is no space between them, and that absence of space is precisely where manipulators, provocateurs, and energy thieves operate. Machiavelli watched this collapse powerful rulers across generations. A man who could command armies would lose his composure over a snide remark from a rival at court. His anger became the weapon used against him. The emotion he couldn't control became the rope others used to lead him. Here is how you build the gap between feeling and response. First, identify the specific triggers that own you right now. Not general emotions, it's specific triggers. Someone implying you're not as successful as you appear. Someone questioning your intelligence. Someone treating you as less important than you believe you are. Find them, name them. Because the triggers you cannot name are the ones that will always be used against you. Second, when a trigger fires, pause. Not forever. Just enough to ask, does responding from this emotion serve me? Almost always the answer is no. Almost always the emotion was designed to provoke a response that cost you more than it costs them. When you build this gap, when you create space between what you feel and what you do, you become essentially unmanipulable. People will test you. They will push the old buttons expecting the old explosions. When the explosion doesn't come, they lose their map of you. They no longer know how to reach you. And a person who cannot be reached cannot be controlled. Tip 7. The power of doing nothing. When inaction is the master stroke. Everything in this video has been built to this. And this principle is the one that separates people who understand power at a surface level from people who understand it completely. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes, the single most powerful thing you can do is absolutely nothing. Calculated inaction is not laziness. It is not passivity. It is the deliberate choice to withhold your energy from a situation because the situation does not deserve it, and because your restraint will accomplish more than your participation ever could. Here's why this works. Every system, social, political, interpersonal, requires participation from all parties to continue functioning. An argument needs two sides. Drama needs an audience. A power struggle needs two people who both believe they have something to prove. The moment one party withdraws their participation completely, the system collapses. Not in their favor or against their favor. It simply ends. And the person who ended it by walking away holds all the power in that ending. Machiavelli called this the art of strategic patience, understanding that not every problem requires a solution, not every enemy requires a response, and not every opportunity to prove yourself is worth taking. Someone is trying to publicly compete with you, copying your approach, trying to outperform you in your own arena, making it obvious they've decided you're their benchmark. Old response: you acknowledge the competition, you adjust your strategy around them. You make moves designed to stay ahead of them, which means you're now playing their game on their timeline. New response: you ignore them completely. You keep building what you were building before they arrived. You innovate not as a reaction to them, but because innovation is what you do. And while they are obsessively watching you, studying your every move, trying to close a gap, you keep widening it effortlessly. Not because you're racing them, but because you were never in their race to begin with. This is what ascending looks like. Not fighting your way up, not proving yourself at every stage. Moving so consistently and so calmly toward what matters that the people trying to drag you down eventually fall behind, not because you outran them, but because you refused to stop for them. Your silence becomes legendary. Your absence becomes magnetic. Your indifference becomes the most talked about thing in rooms you're not even in. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be in every fight. You need to be so clear on your direction and so unmoved by distraction that power simply accumulates around you because it has nowhere else to go. Let's bring this together. You've now seen 7 principles that Machiavelli spent a lifetime refining, and that the most psychologically formidable people alive use every single day. You've learned that your reaction is the reward, and you've decided to stop giving it away. You've understood why explanation is confession, and why the only people who deserve your reasoning are the people who already trust your judgment. You've discovered how selective disappearance creates the kind of scarcity that turns your presence from furniture into something people chase. You've seen why silence hits harder than any response you could craft, because it removes the fuel that aggression requires to survive. You've identified the 3 specific types of people who need to be quietly and permanently removed from your orbit. You've started building the internal architecture of emotional sovereignty, the gap between stimulus and response where your actual power lives. And finally, you've understood the most counterintuitive law in this entire framework, that sometimes the most dominant move available to you is no move at all. These are not suggestions, these are laws, and they work in direct proportion to how consistently and how ruthlessly you apply them. Not perfectly, consistently. The next time someone baits you, don't bite. The next time someone demands justification you didn't offer, stay quiet. The next time someone tests whether they can pull you off your center, show them they can't. Starting right now, not tomorrow, right now. Because the version of you that operates from these principles is available to you immediately. You don't have to earn it, you just have to choose it. So, I'll ask you one final time. Are you ready to stop handing your power to people who haven't earned it? Are you ready to become someone that nobody can read, nobody can destabilize, and nobody can ignore? If yes, prove it. Drop "I am untouchable" in the comments right now. Not because it's a ritual, because the moment you write that, you're making a commitment to yourself that this is the version of you that moves forward from today. If this shifted something in you, hit the like button. Not for me, but as a signal to yourself that you received it. Share this with one person in your life who is still fighting battles that are costing them more than they're worth. And subscribe, because what we've covered today is only the beginning of what you're going to learn on this channel. You are untouchable now. Move like it.